Thank you for listening to the TTalks.net podcast, the show that brings you information, guidance, and support to entrepreneur-minded individuals like yourself. TTalks.net will give you something to talk about tomorrow. This isn't the daily show, but this is the show where you'll get everything. You'll get a fiesta of a mix with the old and the new. They will give you tips and insights into everyday business, big wins in everyday life. They have a lot to add, from bookkeeping to sales management, and sales training, and daily content for listeners to learn and enjoy. We are here to improve your life in business or sales career. Without any further ado, introducing the dynamic duo, Alex DeLuca and Rafael Rodriguez Jr.
And yes. We made it back once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to T-Talks. My name is Alex DeLuca, and hello from Naples.
And this is Rafael from Hollywood, Florida, saying good day, good evening, good night.
Awesome, Ralph, man. Happy Monday, kick-ass Monday. How you doing, man?
Another great day in paradise. We live where people vacation.
You know, it really was one of those days driving around town as we do on the usual, and just look outside. I was like, wow, it's so gorgeous out. Not a cloud in the sky. I'm 2 miles from the beach. Yes, we are blessed.
I mean, it's been kind of hot. The temperature is picking up, so.
It is, man. It's almost like summer hit us a little bit earlier.
Well, and so how was your weekend? Before we get into topic,
the weekend was awesome. Hung out with the family as always. Beach time, beached it up. What about you?
Same thing. Just doing some remodeling. Helping my daughter get situated. And,
that's up in O-Town, right?
Huh?
That's up in O-Town?
No.
Oh no, your daughter's in Davie.
Yeah, my daughter's in Davie.
Gotcha. Oh, you were just in Orlando last weekend. That's what it was, right?
Yes, I was in the O, and
like 2 weekends ago, but you were in New Orleans. Before you were there, the other time you were over here. Can't keep track of where you go, man.
You got to keep on trucking. You got to keep on trucking. Anyways, so as we know that any organization, sales is key. Do you agree with that?
It's your lifeline. Yeah, of course.
So, and in order for you to have sales, what do you have to have?
Leads.
Well, before leads, there are prospects. And in order for you to have prospects, you need to have leads.
You know who I've been listening to a little bit lately? Mr. Grant Cardone. Contacts equal contracts. Contacts equal contracts. But yes, prospects, cold leads, hot leads, you turn them into an opportunity. Come on, Ralph, we know the life cycle, right? We got to share it with the audience.
And it's funny, but basically it's the same thing. We've been talking about it over and over and over, and the 40 plus episodes that we have done, we have touched on the avatar, we touched on the lead management, lead cycle, and we talked about digital marketing, we talked about newspaper marketing, we talked about canvassing, we talked about, it's endless, but
there's so many topics, and we go off on tangents and we touch base on a lot of different topics, but they're the same ones that keep circling and circling and circling back.
Well, the one thing I did want to talk about, hopefully, and I know this is more of your cup of tea, is canvassing.
My cup of tea. Why? Because it's more relevant, because I've done it in the past decade than you.
Well,
no, yeah, man.
I actually set up with TrueGreen, a part of the canvassing team, and believe it or not, a lot had to do with Electrolux vacuum cleaners. Now, you might not know who Electrolux vacuums are.
No, I think of Kirby when I think of vacuums or something like that.
Well, Kirby, same concept, same idea, and And I went through, and I think you might have been in kindergarten when we went through the do not call list when they first implemented it, and we saw our we call it SFDU, single family dwelling units. They dwindle. So basically, our universe consisted of single family units, and then within those we have phone numbers. And based on how many phone numbers we had, how many people we had, we could tell you to the T, based on our closing percentage, how many sales we were going to have for that week, for that month, and how many we're going to turn over, and so on and so forth. So, numbers is always part of sales, and that's what helps you drive, budgets and drive your operation. It's all about numbers. So, anyways, back to
it's all about numbers. Everything, there's a number. There's
definitely. I mean, to the point where
behind everything.
What a good, and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but a good a good canvassing team will take a particular area and will divvy it up into how many people you have, how many doors they're going to go ahead and see, how many presentations they should be doing per hour, and how many sales or how many demo or whatever you're doing out in the field. That number is incredibly important, because hopefully you're able to create a baseline so if your team is being productive or unproductive. So, again, we're doing a 360 when it comes to canvassing, and I hope we don't have to explain what canvassing is, but maybe we should for all those new people.
Canvassing. What is canvassing? The act of door-to-door residential salesman. Whew, it brings back flashbacks, man. We've had a lot of fun training and knocking on doors and all the different stories of the trainees and things that happen from homeowners and dogs to good things and bad things, making a lot of money in between. But yeah, so that's a topic. What are the key ingredients to a successful canvassing program? We're going to get into the nitty-gritties. February 26th, ladies and gentlemen. 10:06. Geez, April. Ooh. April 26th, we're going at it. So, number one.
Just to correct you, is that canvassing can also be done on the commercial as well as residential side.
Sorry, I didn't, I was going to throw in the business to business in there.
Yes.
We were going there. Organization, the number one thing to have. What do you mean by organization? What can I organize?
Well, we kind of said it a little bit earlier ago, but basically what you're trying to do is that you have to have the research behind your demographics, the area that you're going to go ahead and do. And this is all part of the organization of implementing a canvassing team. So one of the first things you kind of have to do is that you need to know your territory. You need to break down your territory by zip code. You can do it by economic potential, physical boundaries, and you kind of break it up.
Main roads, bodies of water, railroads. You got to break it up into the territories.
And that's typically your first thing. And what I usually like to do is that any business that I have done in the past, I will kind of highlight it within the area that I'm canvassing, because it's always good to know that Mrs. Jones, that's a previous customer of ours. Mr. Smith, that's a previous customer of ours. And sometimes part of the organization is that you actually reach out and say, hey, how did we treat you? Want to get a feedback from that individual to see how well you did with that individual. And this is where it's so important to be able to gauge not with your previous customers, their experiences, and hopefully that will help you make sure that going forward that you're doing the right thing. So the organization aspect of things is that you do want to check your code, your local law enforcement regulations, ordinance. One of the great things about, and there's a gray area, and you might want to consult with your attorney If you don't have an attorney, maybe a friend who's an attorney, and if you don't have any friends that is an attorney, try to reach out to somebody and do a 30-minute consultation in regards to zoning. One or ordinance. One of the things that we did was that we never really sold when we were canvassing in the home improvement side. For True Green, we didn't exchange money at the time of the process. So all we did was that when we were canvassing was providing a free 14-point analysis of their lawn, and then we'll get their phone number, and then we'll reach back out and say, hey, by the way, this is what I can do for you. So we try not to sell right there and then at the beginning, and then eventually we were able to sell as long as we didn't exchange money at that moment. It wasn't considered selling on the premises, because the minute you start selling on the premises, then it's more problematic. Let's just leave it like that.
We're just out here setting appointments.
That's it. You're here to set up an appointment for a free appointment. That's all you're doing. You're not selling anything. All I'm doing is setting up a free appointment or providing a free 14-point analysis.
Awesome. So first step, organization. It's huge. Like Ralph said, knocking on areas, knowing the installs around. Installs are great to work. Hey, we just worked on Mary Lou's house. What about you? Knowing the territories, knowing the boundaries, printing out maps, even saying which direction to walk, start at point A to end up in point B. Hit one side of the street, not the other, lap it a certain way, make sure this is all expressed, organized, and go hit the road and put the full effort into it. Anything else on the organization part?
No, actually, when we did canvassing, we knew exactly where we parked the cars. We try to park it in open areas, try not to park in somebody's home, somebody's swale. It creates problems. So
it really does.
And then what you try to do is that you plan. You have to plan it to go and kind of have a start, and then you take a break, and then you come back again, and you do it kind of all over again. There's a couple methods of doing canvassing. We used to do leave the flyers first, door hangers first, and then we come back to anybody that didn't have the door hangers on the door. Those are the people that we knocked on the doors. The other ones is, your first run, which is your early run. You only go to homes that are that you think that might be occupied, and this is where the organization aspect of things, works very well, because the last thing you want to do when you're canvassing is, somebody just came here from your company a week ago. That demoralizes any individual that's out there. And I don't know about you, but going, door to door when somebody already has been there, less than a week ago, it could be demoralizing, especially if you're under the sun, beating that pavement and that sun hitting your head. You kind of think twice about, man, these guys don't have it together. And in sales is all about attitude and approach. So you want to keep them, you want to keep your soldiers out there as motivated, hyped up, and all they have to worry about is making that presentation.
No, yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree with you more.
Thank you, man. All right. Did I miss anything there?
No, you got it. You're on a roll.
No. Next one that should be part of your canvassing.
Let's see. What are we going to go after? Measurements?
It's all about measurement. You need to measuring and reporting costs, as well as production by the hour, makes it easier for canvassers, team leaders, and managers to understand the impact of their performance. And this is where, I always say is that a baseball player knows their number, to the T. A canvasser will know their numbers to the T.
Yes.
They know that for every 5 presentation that they do, they're gonna get one. They're gonna set one appointment. For every 5 appointments, they're gonna go ahead and get a sale.
That's it, man. You can write those numbers down. You got to know your numbers, whether you're good or bad. You know your numbers. You know where you stand. It gives you something for accountability. And if you're not measuring, you're just, I don't know, floating. How can I say it? Stagnant. You're not assessing yourself. You're not reaching for goals. You're just going with the flow without a paddle down the river.
Well, and by measuring and knowing your numbers, you know how effective that canvassing team is. And if it's not producing, you got 2 choices. You got to find out why it's not producing, and if it's not producing, you might have the wrong person directing that canvassing team.
Mm-hmm.
Because
no, it's true. Because the proof is in the pudding. We've said it 1,000 times. I've been training for this since 2021. I don't know this position, hiring, training 6 years or so. And even before that was business to business, telecom, you name it. But it's all been measurable. It's all been you set goals, you work it, and you try to get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, anybody that you were able to get their phone number, their address, whatever you're selling, and you start creating a database, and this, so you don't lose all the time and effort that has been put into your canvassing team, especially if you're paying them by the hour, if you're paying them by results, is that these, and I'm kind of leading right next to the next topic, which is lead management. This is where you need to make sure that these numbers are golden. This is building up your pipeline. They might, some people might not pull the trigger at this moment, but you might have a good closer that can give them a call and say, hey, look, I got something going on. We already have the information. We can do your whole house for XYZ, whatever you're selling. Hopefully there's good notes in regards to it. And you're able to squeeze more sales out of your canvassing efforts.
Squeeze.
That's all it is. It's all about squeezing names, numbers, and that's pretty much it. One of the things that I always, and I love doing this, do not let the canvassers schedule appointments.
You don't want them to?
No, you can tell them that I'm going to see if there's a 6 o'clock available, and then you have the office call and confirm the 6 o'clock appointment. Why do you want to do that?
Why is that, Ralph?
A lot of times, you have Mr. Nice Guy who's sweating in front of your door. You're trying to get rid of the guy. You don't know what to do. And you just say, yeah, put me up for 6 o'clock. Here's my phone number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just have them to call me when they, the day before, and I'll pick it up. All right, have a good one. Bye.
1, 2, 3, 4. Beep, beep, beep.
Well, they just, they just got rid of you, and you got a bogus number. At least if you call and confirm and you're right there, just waiting for that confirmation, you got the right number, you got a live one, and they're somewhat interested because you got their information. And part of the organization is also, and we didn't really talk about it too well, is having a killer script that shouldn't be more than no more than 35 to 45 seconds to a minute.
And that doesn't mean you talk real fast with a lot of verbiage either.
No, this is talking at normal speed 45 seconds to 1 minute. That's pretty much the average attention span, and that should be your first spiel that you provide, and hopefully you get a nod, or you lead them into the other part of the conversation, or part of your spiel. But that first intro shouldn't be more than 45 seconds to a minute max.
Awesome. It's an impactful moment.
A what?
I said an impactful moment. Energy, enthusiasm. You got to get it. And, we've talking about scripts and wrote scripts for so many different products. That every script has, I say an intro, a short story, presentation, close, and rehash. You say something else. Well, that's great. There's so many different, methods to the madness. But, the introduction and the selling yourself part is huge. You're excited. You're smiling. You're making eye contact. We talked about it during the organization part where, it's great to work installs. It's also great to know which, clients around you have already bought from you. That is in your pitch. So many things that you can, we could talk about for canvassing and script writing and lead management and measuring and goals and right up to the next, team leaders, leaders.
And I did want to take a moment, and we might have to break this up into 2 episodes because it's just so much information that we're sharing. But a team leader is not just a bus driver. Okay, a lot of times I've seen this kind of, well, if the guy can drive, he's your team leader. No, it shouldn't be just because the guy can drive is your team leader.
Where have you ever heard that from?
If he can breathe and he has a license, he's a team leader.
Oof. Yeah, let your money go drive around all day with somebody.
Well, and I think I said it earlier. If there's no productivity there, you might want to look at your team leaders and see are they the right ones, and they might not be the right ones because they're not just a bus driver. They are supposed to be. They should be, if not one of the best, but the best in regards to getting in front of the door and being able to get appointments. If your team leader doesn't even, he should spend some time trying to get appointments. Even if he's getting appointments for your new guy, he should be getting appointments, and he should be one of the best ones at getting appointments.
No, 100%, because you're the one to light the flame. You're the one to show the system works. You lead by example. The BS you just talked about, if they got a pulse and a license and they can drive, they're a leader. No, you're the motivator. You're what get things going. You crack jokes in the car. You really keep the mojo going and get, and slap the high fives. You're that guy.
Well, and one of the things that you want to kind of do is that you want to motivate people to want to be a team leader, and this is a reason why, even though the team leaders are the ones that typically will go ahead and break down the areas. They do work more hours than your regular canvassers. If you have a good canvassing team, these guys should be cracking some higher numbers because they're able to produce other people that can replicate what they can do, which is, setting up appointments and getting or selling or whatever, the case might be. And at the same token, they should be good enough to be able to coach, that they can coach people and not only coach them, but lead them into success.
Lead them to the promised land. You're their friend. Their business goals. Their personal goals. You kind of get into it and figure it out with them. If you're looking for a typical team leader, they're pushing the 55 to 60 hour work week. They're scouting the area, the territories. They're maintaining the vehicle for you. They're still, knocking canvassing 75, 60, 75% of their time.
And
to easily break those big numbers. Yeah,
recruiting 5 to 7 hours per week. Because because team leaders should be able to identify and constantly keep bringing in fresh blood, because unfortunately we know that canvassing is a high turnover. Not everybody's going to make it, but at the same token, anybody can make it. And you really don't want to judge anyone that's coming into the organization if they have the people skills, if they have a great personality. Believe it or not, their first impression is extremely huge. And a lot of times I've seen it many times where, somebody who didn't have any sales experience, but they did have the charisma, they looked sharp, they were hungry enough to and they really wanted to be part of the team, and you give them a chance, and they go out there and kill it. And then we also see where they sometimes they go out there and kill it the first, second week, and then all of a sudden they never see money this big, and they start just dropping off because, oh, this is real easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. I don't have to push as hard since I've been recognized as being one of the best, and it gets to their head, and then all of a sudden their productivity just starts falling off. And that's a cycle that unfortunately it happens in most sales oriented organization, and a sales manager should be able to identify it, or a team leader should be able to identify it and bring them back to the ground and tell them, hey, just go back to basic, because they start changing things around because they think they can, and it goes downhill from there.
It really does. The whole goal there, your team leader, you want to try to, get them to where they're making, set the goals on the table to where they're making decent money so they stick around and you can grow your team. They're the one that promotes the system and enforces the system without any compromise for you and your business. So, you got to find them and pick through them. And that goes right into our next topic, the hiring and selection. It's a numbers game. That's all I can say. Right at the beginning, it's a numbers game, just like anything else. You got to go through the numbers, got to go through the masses to find the ones that work.
Well, like I said, I think that we're going to start with the hiring and selection process tomorrow, because it's such a big topic, and this is your make or break, because part of your hiring and selection is going to go ahead and indicate who your team leaders might be at the beginning, and who do you want, because it's going to be a big load that's going to be on that individual, and that hiring and selection, there are many things that you can do to ensure that you have a good team. And sometimes a good team, you cannot have all aces. A team with too many aces creates havoc. But you definitely want an ace or two in there, that can help with the crunch.
Love it, man. Anything else? Couple seconds, minutes here. T Talks.
Well, I think,
great topic today. I love the juicy information.
Well, in order for us to recap, is that canvassing program requires organization. It starts from the top. You need to organize it from where.
That's another topic we could have spent another 15 minutes on.
Well, from the top, and then you want to have measurements in there to go ahead and kind of know if you're going the right way or going the wrong way. We talked about lead management. You're spending this time and effort out on the road. You want to be able to grasp as much information as possible, and information data is king. And last but not least, what we talked about today, team leaders, they can make or break you. They're the ones that really will take the organization to the next level. So that's our summary for today, and with that, we say, what do we say?
We say,
Thank you for tuning in to ttalks.net. If you have any questions, comments, or something you want us to talk about, email us at raphael@ttalks.net or comment below. Please follow us on YouTube at ttalksnet and Facebook at ttalksnet. Please rate us and don't forget that sharing is caring. Thank you for your support. Till next time, we will T-Talk later.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in. My name's Alex DeLuca, and I'm signing out from Naples.
And this is Raphael from Hollywood, Florida, saying good night.